What's the name of this podcast?
The name of this podcast is The Bro Returns.
The Bro Returns.
This week on The Bro Returns, we're gonna talk about The Cat Returns, a movie by who?
I forgot the name already.
Yeah,
Isao Miyazaki?
Isao Miyazaki?
it's totally him.
No. Hayao Takahata.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
now. That's his
Yeah,
name.
the one who made what was it again? Gurren Toppa Kill Evangelion?
Something like that. It was really
Okay, I
boring,
really
and
butchered
I
that
don't
joke.
remember. I don't remember it.
Should we start over?
No, let's just keep it in.
I didn't know we had started already.
Had we
Yeah,
started?
let's just keep it in. Who cares?
I don't know. Should we start again?
I thought this was just a test.
Let's just keep going and cut things
Well-
out as we go.
Yeah, just edit it.
Yeah.
Put
Dude,
it
I
in
don't
post.
have time to edit it. Anyway, this is the
How
Bro
should I say
Returns. My name is Baron today. I'm also joined by
Renaldo Moon. I'm the cool one.
And the kawaii cat girl Haru. Chan.
sitting
guess.
to my left.
That's me.
So we watched a movie today. It's called The Cat Returns. It's a Ghibli movie from 2002, directed by Hiroyuki Morita.
It's the sequel to Whisper of the Heart, another movie by Studio Ghibli. From I don't know when it was made, but it was really good.
I think.
1995.
1995.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
So, how did you guys like this movie? Because I had seen it once, at least once, maybe twice before. What did you guys think?
Well, I watched it for the first time ever, and I think it was pretty great. It was quite a fun time, I would say.
Yeah, it was. I think the second time I watched it, and I gotta be honest. It's probably one of my favorite Ghibli movies, and I didn't know about it until now. It's really fun.
Yeah, it's just a gay old fun time.
Yeah.
that describes it about perfectly, I think. It's definitely not what you would expect from a Ghibli movie if you're like familiar with Miyazaki movies or even the Takahata movies. It's there were no like it doesn't stand out visually that much as the others do.
It doesn't stand out, but it's
Yeah.
overall pretty well done.
No, that's for sure. It's very well done. It looks really good, but there's no moment in it that just blows you away as you might see it in some Miyazaki movies, just visually. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but it was consistent. That's for sure. So, The Cat Returns. It's maybe we should like talk about the plot a little bit.
Well, I didn't pay that much attention to the plot. I just liked the cats. And how cute they
I
were.
haven't seen the movie. I don't know what's it about.
I haven't seen the movie. I haven't seen it.
Baron?
What's it about?
Tell me about
All
it.
right. So, in The Cat Returns is about this high school girl, I think, who's very clumsy and
cute.
cute.
Very
She
clever.
falls down all the time. She trips and falls over.
Yeah.
She falls into. She makes
Animated.
a front flip into a trash pile at one point.
Yeah, she's animated in a very cute way.
That's
I
true.
really like it.
They did a very well job, like establishing that she's like the clumsy girl
The
and
way
sort of awkward.
the way the characters are animated, it really tells you what the personality is like.
Like immediately.
The fat cat. You just know he's like.
He's the kind of guy who doesn't give a
Yeah,
fuck
exactly.
or something like that.
So yeah, really fun character. So basically the plot is you have this clumsy girl. She rescues a cat from
From the isekai bus driver.
the isekai truck
driver. Yeah, the
Yeah,
isekai
that's-
truck driver.
Well, it's an isekai movie. That's how you know it. As soon as we saw the truck, we were like, okay, it's this. But nobody gets run over. She saves the
Yeah.
cat, and turns out the cat was a prince of the cat kingdom, and then the cats want her to marry him, and they shower her with like affection and all these little things.
Like affection, like they put little Valentine mice into her
Yeah.
locker
Mm,
instead of chocolates.
they wanna give her nice things, and they just give her things that cats would like.
Like catnip
Yeah.
and
They,
stuff.
they plant cattails all over her garden, but she's allergic to it.
Oh my god, this is so cute. This movie. Ah.
So yeah, then they want her to marry the prince, and she actually starts considering doing that, and I really like that moment when she's like, I guess I could marry the
Yeah.
prince.
but that would be ridiculous. I'm human and he's a cat.
Well, anyway, she's like, she considers it, but then she's like, oh, maybe not. But the cats take it as a yes, and then they want to kidnap her, and she seeks help, and
There's a voice in her head, so in her head, not really in her head. I think another cat talks to her, but she doesn't notice that.
Well, cats have telepathic
Yeah.
communication
I
well,
guess they do.
with humans, with some humans who are
Yeah.
sensible to it, as we've learned in the 2004 book Kafka on the Shore by Haruki Murakami.
I don't read books, man.
Oh,
You
you're,
should
you're,
read that.
you're
Yeah,
not
I
as
know, man.
intellectual as I, but yeah.
Well,
I mean,
yeah,
that's a common Japanese thing, I think, talking to cats.
it is.
It is. I mean,
Yeah,
you see it all the time.
it does make sense. Yeah.
It's a trope. Yeah.
Well, yeah. That cat tells her to seek the cat bureau. And so some fat white cat should tell her about it.
Yeah, she should look for the
Yeah.
fat white cat, and that cat will show her the bureau, and she
Yeah.
finds the cat, and then they somehow
That's the
Muta,
name,
yeah,
yeah.
best
Name
fucking
of the
character
cat.
in the movie.
Yeah.
He's just this fat cat, kind of like a
Like, kind of grumpy,
yeah,
too.
very grumpy.
Especially at the beginning. He's like, I guess I'll help you, but I'm a
Yeah,
cat.
he's a total badass. And yeah, then they get to the bureau, and that's when you see the Baron. You meet the Baron. It's like a cat statue that came to life or something.
Yeah, he's not a cat because he actually has a human body, but just the head of a cat.
Yeah, and all the other cats, well, they walk upright, but you can tell that they have cat bodies. Like, they have paws,
Yeah.
and they're a bit janky in their movements.
Yeah.
Because the cats, they're not bipeds.
Also,
Which
they
is- yeah.
barely wear any clothes, but the Baron like has a whole suit. And
Yeah,
hat.
While they
But
Very
don't,
fancy.
classy,
Yeah,
real dandy.
but
Yeah.
while those cats don't wear clothes, like, there's the bodyguard cats, whose
Yeah.
fur is just like a suit with a
Totally,
tie.
yeah.
Oh yeah, that was the best. And they like there was one scene where they like put their paw to their ear, like as if they were checking
Yeah.
for the
Yeah,
for
but
the
there's
ear
nothing
buttons.
in their ears.
Yeah.
They-
No, it's just like it's a bodyguard
It's
move.
probably telepathy, you know.
Yeah, man. So yeah, that's a nice little detail that they just walk awkwardly because of course cats don't walk on 2 feet normally. I like that. So yeah, they meet the Baron. That's where the connection to Whisper of the Heart becomes apparent for the first time.
Well, there was an opening scene before we get
Yeah.
introduced to Haru, where they just showed
Right.
the antique shop from.
Yeah, which is the same shop as in Whisper
Yeah,
of the
and
Heart.
the Baron was already standing in the window looking out.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so the Baron is it's this little statue, and it was in that one shop in Whisper of the Heart, and he didn't really play a role that much in Whisper of the Heart.
Yeah,
But-
well, he was just the object of her fantasies,
Yeah.
kind of like her deep dark fantasies.
And-
That's just
and-
kidding. Oh no,
Yeah,
like,
at the end of Whisper of the Heart, the main character, I don't remember her name. She started writing a book, and the main character was the Baron, and
Yeah.
that's yeah,
who
and
came to life in her books.
yeah,
Yeah.
and The Cat Returns basically is that book. So it's
That's at least that's our head canon. I mean, it's not framed as
Yeah.
this is the book, but you can't just assume that that's
Exactly.
the book.
So yeah, what's the didn't the German Wikipedia say that Miyazaki personally asked the author
Yeah.
to write that book?
Yes, and the English Wikipedia just said, "Oh, the stories in Whisper of the Heart of the Baron were popular, so she just wrote more of them as like a sequel
Yeah.
to those."
Yeah,
but
who knows?
yeah, who knows what the actual story behind origins of this movie are,
Yeah.
but we have it, so that's good.
Yeah. So, but I guess like it's still canon that like the girl from Whisper of the Heart wrote these stories and also the story of the
I
book,
mean,
Yeah.
the story of the movie.
I mean, you can assume that it's not explicitly said, but whatever.
Yeah, well, because we kind of noticed that when we watched it, that the whole thing sort of feels like something like a middle schooler would write
Yeah,
in a way.
yeah. It has these Deus Ex Machina moments, those very obvious ones, and
Yeah,
the motivations of the characters and stuff. It's like, yeah, very middle school.
Yeah.
it's just focused on telling a fun story more than like making sense sometimes. I
Yeah,
feel.
and I don't think there's a deeper message supposed to be hidden in there. Like, it's just a fun story.
Yeah.
Like, you get the
Yeah.
feeling that that it's just supposed to be a fun story without any moral behind it.
And
Yeah.
something
Yeah,
like
and
that.
they did a really great job. Like it is really fun. It's just a fun ride, you know.
Yes, I would even say it's my favorite isekai anime.
Probably yeah.
I mean, just look at the cat kingdom. It's
Yeah.
so beautiful. I just love the entire design of the world, of the houses. Everything's covered in cattails, and then there's the castle in the middle with those extremely sharp high towers. And it's all
Yeah.
kind of circular, and there's a labyrinth in it.
Yeah.
For no
The
reason at all.
labyrinth is
Just
just in there to
naturally.
have to have a labyrinth.
'Cause
In there.
naturally there would be a labyrinth
Yeah.
in there.
Yeah, I mean
And that-
it just makes sense.
that
just makes
The
sense,
Baron even
yeah.
says it. It's like they come they get out there and see the maze and they're like, oh, there's a maze there, and he says naturally,
Yeah.
because that's just
And-
what's supposed to be there.
That's
Yeah,
just
like,
the
in-
best scene. The best scene in the whole movie is like when the main character trio just they walk through the maze, and then Muta, the fat cat, just climbs on the walls because they're actually not that high.
Yeah,
And
he's
then-
a cat, so he
and
can
then-
climb up walls. Like,
Yeah, then the girl says, "Oh no, don't! He's cheating! Don't cheat!" And then the guards, the guards of the cat guards pursue them, and they also walk on the walls. And then they see Muta and just say, "Oh no, he's cheating!"
and the guard in front just points at him in such a ridiculous way, like, "Oh look, he's cheating!
Yeah,
They're very
so
aware of
great.
the
How
rules.
dare he?"
the whole scene around the labyrinth and climbing up the tower is just really hilarious.
Yeah,
It's
'cause,
wonderful.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that's towards the end of the movie. In between, there's like a really fun part where they're like in the castle of the king of
Yeah.
the cats, the cat king, and so he is the one who insists on Haru marrying the prince.
Yeah,
the
that's
prince
true.
is not even home; he's away.
And he's actually a pretty cool guy, so he would never force her to, like, become a cat. We didn't even mention that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
So the king is obsessed with like turning her into his
I
daughter-in-law.
think he's like a reverse furry,
Yeah,
where he's like
exactly.
a cat that's really into humans.
Yeah, he seems to have some sort of human fetish.
Yeah, definitely.
Also, he looks really insane. Like his eyes are pointing outwards, and he has 2 different eye colors,
And
and
his fur is really,
completely
Yeah, like
wanky.
every cat
wacky
has
and
just
cracked up.
very well maintained fur, but he's just a fucking mess.
completely unkempt. He looks like an electrified fur ball, like when you watch Pokemon. And,
Yeah, yeah,
And Meowth gets a thunder shock.
yeah.
That's what he looks like.
Exactly. So yeah, he wants her to marry the prince, and then in the castle getting her ready, and there's this banquet. I don't know. It's like they're having a meal.
Yeah, and it seems to be like kind of diplomatic because there's cats wearing all sorts of clothes from different cultures. Like
Yeah.
there's Egyptian cats
Chinese
and
cats.
Arabian
Yeah,
cats,
Arabian
Chinese
one.
cats, and it seems to be like a diplomatic dinner kind of banquet thing.
Yeah. There's a lot of entertainers, and for some reason there are dogs too. Which,
There
Which
were
are
some dogs in
smaller
there,
than the
yeah.
cats.
yeah, which is really weird. Well, no, one of the dogs is taller than the cats. There's just this one really tiny dog. Like he's not even the same size as the cats. He's like really tiny.
Oh yeah, about the
Like-
size. So she gets transported, like from the bureau. She
Yeah.
gets transported into the cat world. We have this little chase scene where the Baron tries and Muta they try to hold on to her, follow her,
The crow.
save her from the cats carrying her away. And as soon as she gets into the cat world, like pretty soon after that, she starts turning into a cat. Like she's half cat then. She grows cat
Yeah.
ears and tail, and it's so cute. Where was I going with this?
I don't know.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, she's
The
cute.
size. You're talking about the size.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
and-
the size.
Exactly, and she also shrinks. Like that's the first thing.
Yeah.
Before she even turns into a cat, as soon as she enters the cat kingdom, she shrinks down to the size of cats.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, Muta is like way bigger than her because he's a really big cat,
Yeah.
which is emphasized a lot
Yeah.
later on in the film, especially.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
When we get the reveal of his true identity.
Yeah, it's true identity.
So yeah, his true identity. Yeah, that's my favorite scene actually.
That's also a thing that's very much like it was written by a middle schooler. Because just
Yeah.
introducing that name without even foreshadowing or hinting at it before, just right there in the last act, in the final act, almost, yeah, kind of.
Yeah, it was the final act. It's like
That's not your properly schooled way of storytelling.
Yeah.
You would have to foreshadow something like that in some way.
they did foreshadow it though.
Did they? Or
Yeah,
maybe
They
I
were
just-
like, oh, this cat
Someone
looks
said,
familiar.
Hey, he looks familiar.
oh
but-
yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was.
There's no like no one talked about the story behind it, but just
'Cause
yeah,
it
he
could-
looks familiar. He has
yeah.
something to do with it, but yeah, that doesn't really matter.
And then it turns out that his story is even like inscribed on the walls because it was
Yeah.
such a calamity back then.
Yeah.
So once upon a time there was this giant fat cat that came and ate all the fish in the lake.
They call him Renaldo Moon.
Yeah.
Which is also really fun because Moon, like, Moo, that was what she mocked him earlier with. Like, she misspoke.
yeah.
She
Yeah.
mispronounced his name and said, instead of Muta, she said, like,
Muta? Well, yeah.
no, she actually said, okay, that's a weird
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
that's
that's
lost in
the
translation because she
translation,
actually said Buta, which means
Exactly.
pig, of course, which would be like yeah, he took that very personally because he's a fat cat and very insecure about that. Like, he's not insecure, but he gets very offended if you talk about his weight.
Yeah.
So
Just
that was
call
a
me
funny
fat
joke.
Pig.
And then, but in translation in the
Yeah.
subtitles, it was like moo for some reason.
Yeah,
Which
Because
would
it sounds
mean
like Muta.
a cow, and then Moon just kind of sounded like cow, but yeah, whatever. So they totally butchered that in translation.
Is his name in
Yeah.
Japanese also Renaldo Moon?
I don't know. I think that's just a translation in the subtitles. Yeah.
I don't
Did he
really
say it
remember.
in the
I think he
original?
did, though.
I think
He
his
did,
name was
yeah.
Renaldo Moon.
Ronaldo Moon.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
did say that. Yeah.
Because it just sounds like a really random name.
It is a
I don't-
really
what-
random name.
What's the?
Well, he probably just came up like they said, like he called himself Ronaldo Moon. He probably just came up with it on the spot and was like, "Yeah, I'm here to eat all the fish, guys." There's this really funny drawing of him on the wall. It's just like a monster.
It's just the mouth.
Yeah, it's
not
just a
like
mouth.
Just a mouth with eyes.
Yeah.
Okay, so at the banquet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the king is a fucking madman.
Yeah.
I
He
feel like
is the
all the
Mad
people in the Cat Kingdom are mad, except for like the prince
And,
and
his
Yuki.
his fiance.
Yeah.
his fiance. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the king just wants to entertain Haru because she's not doing well. 'Cause
well,
she doesn't.
crying.
She starts turning into a cat,
Yeah,
and then
she
she
is, yeah.
realizes, oh my god, I'm turning into a cat, and then of course she cries, and she starts crying, and the king just thinks, oh, she's probably not entertained enough. Entertainers, so that she'll stop crying. And then some of the entertainers kind of mess up or offend like the audience, and what he does is he just makes one gesture and two guards rush in, take the entertainer,
Yeah,
and
but
just
like-
throw him out of the window.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was a really nice scene because then they just drag him away and then they cut to like outside of the castle and you just see very tiny. You see someone like just getting thrown out of the window and falling down. I really liked how they did that.
Yeah. I also love these like scenes where things just repeat themselves in slightly different ways, because then one of the guests, one of the cats at the table, just starts laughing extremely loud, and he just gets thrown out of the window as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just throws out one of the guests.
Yeah.
That's a smart, not a smart move as a diplomat.
But it
I
was
would
very
say.
funny because I didn't expect him to. Like I thought the guests were safe
Yeah.
from his
No,
whim.
he's
but
just
no
mad.
one's safe. He's
no
insane.
one's safe. And yeah, the funny thing about this, the one who started laughing, he gets kind of glanced at in a like don't laugh about this
Yeah,
way.
they disapprove.
Yeah, disapproving way from the one sitting next to him. And then in another scene where there's the knife thrower, and the knife thrower just throws the knife, and the lady loses her top and is kind of like naked. Oh no! She crosses her hands
Yeah.
before her chest,
Yeah.
over her chest, and the Arabian guy is like very aroused. You can tell, and his wife next to him is like looking disapprovingly. Like it's the same thing. It rhymes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
like poetry.
It's like
Yeah.
poetry. It was a very funny poem.
Yes.
It always ended with a scream.
And then the Baron is the last one to entertain her.
Yeah,
Um,
he's disguised as one of the entertainers,
Yeah, and they dance.
and she falls in love with him.
Yeah.
It's
Exactly.
hinted at
Yeah.
without knowing that he's the Baron.
That's true. She somehow didn't realize.
Yeah, that was like a really, for me it was very short, but it was like a really romantic scene for me, in like an old timey way, like 18th 19th century.
Well, he's the
ball
white
way.
knight.
Yeah,
that
he's
comes
the
to
white
save
knight.
her.
Yeah.
Exactly. It was really cute, too.
Yeah, and then they fight. Yeah, well, Muta was trapped all the time during the banquet,
Yeah, in a jelly
Uh,
jar
yeah,
or
it was
something.
catnip jelly.
Yeah.
He just fell into
He
it.
just fell
He
in,
just dove into it. He
and
just
she thought he was dead.
really likes it.
Yeah, nobody really
Yeah.
cared. It was
Nobody
just like,
cared.
oh, he's in
It's
there,
just-
and
yeah.
then just put him away.
Yeah,
Well,
'cause the first thing,
uh,
when they get into the castle, he's all like, "Let's get out of here. This isn't a
Yeah.
good situation." But as soon as he sees the food, as soon
No,
as he
yeah,
sees the buffet,
I guess
he's
I
like,
can. I
Oh,
guess I
yeah,
can
whatever.
say.
"I guess I'll stay. I'll
And then
eat."
he just eats all of it. No match for my stomach.
Oh, that was the best
Yeah.
line.
It's like
Yeah.
He just eats he eats clean an entire table of food, and then he's like, "No match for my stomach." Like it's a battle between his stomach and the food.
Well, he won.
and then he
Yes.
lost to the jelly.
But he lost to the jelly.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
stuffed, and well, someone threw the jar on the floor, and he got out. Then there was this really funny fight scene. He ran into he just fell onto 3 guards on accident. And
Yeah, it
Yeah.
seemed kind of like a battle ensues as soon as the
Yeah.
Baron gets found out
exactly.
and introduces himself to the king, and then he get like the jelly jar gets cracked, and he comes out, and he just
Yeah.
runs around and trips, and while tripping he falls on the guard, and 3 guards get
Yeah.
down.
He just accidentally knocks him out.
Yeah, and he says it like that was just an accident.
Yeah, I just lost my balance.
But it looked really like intentional.
Yeah,
It's really funny.
came at the right moment too.
Yeah, it's full of these little details. This very funny action, like slapstick kind
Yeah.
of moments.
And everything flows really well.
Yeah,
it's
well,
just
I
very
wasn't-
comedic.
I wasn't
and-
bored for 1 second.
No,
Yeah, like,
no, not at all.
We're just reciting the whole film right now, because like every single scene
Is like that.
is just really special in some way. It's really funny every time.
Yeah. Very well constructed film, I must say. There's like a lot of things that kind of get hinted on in the beginning and then have like some sort of conclusion in the end. Like also Yuki, the prince's fiance, is also a cat that that Haru.
told Haru to go to the.
No,
to
but
meet.
why did she tell her? Because
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
already knew her, because Haru fed her
Exactly.
when she was
Yeah.
down on her luck back in the day
Yeah.
when Haru was a child.
Yeah, and she fed her those
Yeah.
crackers, which were also the reason that the prince went back to the human world to get those crackers for his
Yeah.
fiance,
Yeah.
which set the whole plot in motion, which is really nice.
Really nice, yeah.
Very, yeah, very well constructed.
Very charming.
yeah.
Charming is also a good adjective to describe
Yeah.
this movie. It was wonderful.
Yeah.
Cats are very noble creatures. I really like cats.
Yeah, but also in a goofy way.
Yeah.
Like it's just like real life cats. I mean,
Yeah.
even despite the fact that they were like a fictional fantasy kind of cat thing, which wasn't really a real cat, but they displayed some traits that you can see in regular cats, like personality wise. A lot of them, they
Yeah.
were like, and cats are like that too. They can be very elegant at times, but then they do stuff.
That's
That's-
just very goofy.
That's just
and there's-
extremely
and there's Also,
goofy
there's also
and
cats
funny.
like Muta
Like-
who just eat all the time.
Yeah.
They're super fat.
Yeah.
So they did a really great job at portraying cats realistically in a fantasy setting.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
like the best I've ever seen. I mean, there's a lot of films especially anime films, who use cats as protagonists, like Night on the Galactic Railroad or stuff like that.
Yeah, but that one's
And
not nearly as well animated.
No, and the
And
cats
it's not about cats.
and the cats don't seem like cats. It's like you could have just used humans there. But in this particular film, you couldn't have used humans because
Yeah.
the jokes wouldn't have worked that well.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
characters wouldn't
definitely.
have worked the same way. Yeah.
So wait, is anything we haven't talked about yet?
Well, yeah, the entire other part of the movie and the maze scene with the walls.
Oh yeah,
Domino
right,
walls.
right.
That was so
Oh,
funny.
yeah.
Yeah, that's like just so convenient, man.
Yeah, it's so convenient.
So they're in the maze and they have like cats with fake walls running around blocking pathways. And then the Baron like just notices that they're fake walls and he kicks one in and then all of them just fall like dominoes. And just make the path to the tower where they need to go.
Why
'cause
were
it-
they in the maze in the first place? Because they were going
Yeah.
to the
Oh,
tower
yeah, right.
with the portal to get out of this
Exactly.
world. To save Haru from becoming a cat, basically.
But
Yeah.
the best thing was like when the walls fell down, the king and his
They're all
his
so
servants were all
surprised.
so surprised.
And he
'cause
was
they
he was
didn't
he was
expect
really
it.
sure of himself.
Yeah.
And the whole maze thing, like they'll never get through the maze. He was even playing golf
Yeah.
up on his balcony.
Yeah, accidentally
yeah.
hit one of his
Yeah,
men.
he was just shooting golf balls into the maze at random.
Yeah, he wanted to hit. He wanted to hit Muta so he would fall off the walls because he was cheating. But he hit his own man. Well, cat, not man. But
Yeah, I mean this whole like everything inside the cat kingdom is very silly and not taken seriously, not even by the characters in it.
Yeah.
Like the cats sort of like it seems like they're playing. It's not like anything is at stake for them. They're just like it's just a game for them.
It's like role play.
yeah.
yeah,
They-
yeah.
And yeah, you can see like in the scene with the executions, like who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, we just
nothing
killed
matters.
that guy, but no one cares.
And when
It's just goofy.
when they finally escape, and the Baron, like, he cuts off the king's fur, but only the lower part. The king's not really very pissed or something like that.
Like the king
He's a-
isn't evil; he's just crazy.
Yeah,
He's just
He
insane.
just
Yeah.
then he just sits there and like I guess I should retire.
There's no real villain in this.
Yeah.
No.
Like, and you don't even
because-
get the feeling. Like there's a lot of movies where you feel like someone is the villain, and in the end it turns out, oh, he wasn't that bad after all. But in this movie, there's no villain.
No, that's just a stupid person. Because
And-
the twist
yeah.
twist in the end is that the prince comes back from his trip. He got the crackers for his fiance, and he's like, "Dad, what did you do? I already have a fiance. I don't need to marry this human."
And the dad is like apologetic, like, "Aw, but I like humans."
Yeah, and
Like,
then
I'm
he's just
sorry,
like,
son.
yeah, okay, Haru. So how about we marry?
Yeah, and then he just proposes to her like, "Oh, then you just marry me,
Yeah.
because I'm into humans, and it's gonna be good for you too, because I'm the king." Like the entire time they
I'm
act
gonna
like
show
they're
you my
doing
undying love.
They're doing her a favor.
they're
yeah.
acting like they're doing her a favor by
Yeah.
turning her into a cat. Like that's the best thing ever. I mean, she's set for life.
Yeah,
She's a princess, the other queen. Like, of course.
Well, yeah, and in the end,
Like
they,
no, the thing is, the king even says when she says she doesn't want to turn into a cat, he says, "Well, you can marry me anyway. Just stay human." Like way better.
yeah.
He's a pervert. That's the scene where she actually calls him hentai.
Yeah.
Um,
Then they actually get through the portal in the end, and then there's this kind of really beautiful scene where they just fall from the sky. And then the crows.
Oh, we
help
didn't
them get
introduce the
down.
crows.
Yeah, we didn't.
Because there was
introduce
this crow,
yeah,
Toto, who was
Toto.
had a really funny dynamic with Muta, with the white,
Yeah, yeah.
fat white
He's
guy.
actually
really
also a statue.
Yeah, he's also a statue from the antique shop, right?
Yeah.
No.
No, he was on the plaza.
Was he? Was he in Whisper of the Heart? Well, he's
I
on
don't
the
think so,
on the
no.
plaza in front of the cat.
Yeah,
bureau.
maybe
Yeah.
the plaza existed in Whisper of the Heart as well, but,
Yeah, but I
I don't
think-
remember.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I think there was a crow statue or figurine in the antique shop. But
maybe
I
would
might
make
be
sense. I mean,
well, there was a fat white cat in
Yeah.
Whisper of the Heart.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think
that
his name
one
was
was
Muta
definitely
as
there.
well.
That's
yeah.
that's the one that led
Yeah.
her to the antique
Oh
shop in
yeah,
Whisper of
yeah,
the Heart.
right. Sure, that's the
And he
damn,
was
the most
and
obvious
the
parallel.
white cat was also in Wisp of the Heart. He was known for begging for food at everyone's door. Everyone in
yeah,
the
right.
neighborhood
Yeah.
knows this cat because he just goes around begging for food. So I guess that's the inspiration for the main character of Whisper of the Heart when writing this character in the book.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Like
I also
I love these kinds of things where you have stories within stories.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and everything's like interconnected.
I also really like how the plaza, but well, the cat bureau, the whole plaza is like really tiny, because it's for the Baron, for his size basically.
Yeah, cat size.
Yeah, but the whole plaza actually exists in Whisper of the Heart, and it's because it's the same shop, right?
Well,
It's
not
not
the
the same
entire
plaza, but-
plaza, just the shop.
It looked like it though.
No, because that was like in Wisp of the Heart, it's
It's up on a hill in
It's
a
up on a
fancy,
hill in a fancy
neighborhood,
neighborhood, yeah.
and the antique shop stands out because of its Western architecture. Like all the other houses there are just modern Japanese houses, but this one is built in this old-timey European style.
Yeah.
And the entire plaza in this movie is also in this European style.
So it's just the shop.
just the shop is the same shop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still really cool, because it's just the same place, but in tiny, because it's for cats.
yeah.
Oh, and the tea party
Yeah, the
feel
tea.
to the entire like the entire film had this tea party kind of vibe.
The tea
To
party
me.
vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Like
like
it's just a
'Cause-
fun
'cause,
time in
yeah,
the
there
afternoon.
weren't there weren't really stakes, and they were all like fancy dressed cats having a ball, essentially.
Yeah.
Like,
And what
Yeah,
a ball they had.
there really there really weren't any stakes. That's really cool.
Yeah. Well, the whole movie just feels
Yeah.
like it's just fun. It's just fun to watch. And in the end, there's like even a lesson that the main character learns, and that's like to not waste time, I guess.
Yeah.
yeah, to not waste time on fawning over pretty boys at school
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Yeah.
Because at first she was always complaining about how unfortunate she is.
Yeah, I'm having such a bad day, such a bad morning. I came late into class, tried to sneak in, but the teacher saw me. Everyone laughed at me. I didn't have time to eat breakfast because I overslept.
Yeah,
It's so hard
lessons
being a
basically-
pretty high school girl.
Lessons basically don't. Yeah. Just wake up. You know.
Wake up on
Just-
time.
Yeah, just wake up on time,
Yeah.
seizes
It
the
will-
day.
It will probably
Carpe diem.
It will probably solve all your problems if you just wake up on time. You know. Like seriously, I think that's.
Well, it's not
that's
that easy, but it's one of the.
Well, yeah,
first
sure.
step,
If you
I
want to be
guess.
productive,
Yeah,
you
just-
shouldn't sleep for too long. I mean, it depends on how you, what rhythm you have set
Yeah.
for your day. But
So
usually, like on the weekends, I try not to sleep too long. Even though I can, but I know I'll never get things done if I don't get up before at least 10.
Yeah.
You know.
So yeah,
Yeah.
regarding the lesson, that like throughout the whole movie, the main character does very little except like complain and cry, and it's actually the Baron that like helps her through everything. But then at the end, when she confronts the Mad King, and he's like, I want to marry you. She gets fed up and is like, no, I've had enough of you.
Hentai.
Yeah, I won't endure this any longer. And she learns to stand up for herself, like following the Baron's example. Like he inspired her to like take responsibility for her own destiny in a way.
Yeah, and that's how she learns the lesson, and then she doesn't complain about being in a bad situation and just does things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She just gets up early on the weekend. And there's this really nice scene where her
Ex-
mother gets
yeah.
up and goes into the kitchen, and she's already sitting there like a real grown up reading the
Yeah.
newspaper.
Hey mom,
By the
I
way,
made breakfast.
I made
for us
breakfast.
too."
I made tea. Like, and she's really following the example of the Baron here because she says like, "It's my own brand of tea."
Yeah, exactly what he said when
Exactly
when
what he said when they first met.
Yeah.
Like, "Oh, here's tea. It's my own brand, so it doesn't taste the same all the time."
It's like
but it's good.
a really nice depiction of like a teenager finding a role model and then like exactly copying what they do, to mature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was really cute.
And it was presented in such a fun, not at all edgy way,
Yeah.
which is refreshing,
Yeah.
frankly, because most coming of age stories, they always have this kind of edgy tinge to it. I feel like this.
Yeah, because of
Where-
puberty.
Like she wasn't really in a bad situation. That's the thing. Like
Yeah.
she wasn't abused or anything. She wasn't bullied at
I mean,
school.
she was also almost turned into a cat, which is
Well, that's later in the
Uh,
film, but we're talking about
yeah
the bigger arc
in the
here from the beginning of the
yeah.
movie to the end, and yeah, it's like very. It's just a fun time.
The
What
whole
more
movie's
can
a
you
fun
say?
time. There's one thing I wanted to bring up regarding like the whole plot of the film. It reminded me a lot of this like recent movies that we went to see a couple of weeks ago, which was called Birthday Wonderland,
Oh yeah,
by Keiji Hara. That's
Yeah.
the director who also made Miss Hokusai and Colorful movies.
Colorful. I think Colorful was pretty good.
I remember it to be pretty good. So we watched that movie. It's the one that Ilya Kuvshinov did character designs for and a lot of concept art. And I was actually looking forward to it because I'm a Kuvshinov fan in a way, and it was really bad.
It was terrible, but it was very similar to this movie.
Yeah, that's why I'm bringing it
Like-
up. Like it was also like one of these isekai sort of stories where a girl gets transferred into another world. Like she gets like picked up by the people from there to save, like to help the prince there. So it's sort of similar.
Yeah, and it's also in an antique shop kind of thing. It's a
Yeah.
magic shop with a hidden door, and the guy who like gets her and takes her into the other world is definitely modeled after the Baron.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
he's not a cat or a statue. He's just a man, a tall man, but he wears a suit in the same way. He has the same mannerisms.
He has the whiskers.
Yeah, he does have whiskers. Yeah.
Yeah, he's very similar. And then this whole movie, the main character also does nothing. And at first she was just, I guess, also complaining about stuff. She's like very. It's like her character arc starts off very similar to the main protagonist in The Cat Returns, but there's like never anything.
No development. at
There's
all.
no development at all.
Also, in both movies, like the mother plays kind of an interesting role, similar role, where they're like modeled in a way where you're supposed to see that they're related. That's a character
Yeah.
design thing now, but in The Cat Returns, they really just look related. In that other movie, they looked exactly the same, with the only exception that the mother had a little mole
Yeah, yeah.
on her cheek or something. That's just a detail, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I just wanted
picked
to
up.
bring it up because like during the movie I noticed like similarities and how one did it well and the other one like completely failed.
Yeah, and like in both movies, the mother tells a story about the past to the daughters.
yeah, right.
But while in that movie we saw, what was the name again?
Birthday Wonderland.
Yeah, well, in Birthday Wonderland, the story is like completely uninteresting and not really that relevant, I think.
Well, nothing really happens, and
Eh,
it's not.
nothing is relevant in that movie anyway. Whatever.
Yeah, and it's not connected by fun scenes like in The Cat Returns.
Yeah, but in The Cat Returns, she tells her the story in the beginning. Like, after Haru saves the cat prince and he talks to her, she asks her mother if cats can talk.
Yeah.
Because she's
Yeah.
confused, obviously. And the mother tells her this very charming story of when she saved the other cat, the fiance of the prince. I forgot her name.
Yuki.
Yuki.
Yeah, Yuki.
Because it's a white cat.
Because it's a white cat. Snow. Yeah. And how she like knelt down to her and just fed her the fish crackers, and then the mother asked her like, "What did you do?" And she was like, "I talked to the cat." And that's why the story is connected. What was I? Whatever. Let's stop this incoherent rambling.
What do you mean?
And you know why? Whatever.
Well,
Why am I even here?
Oh, we talked about this cool movie we watched.
Oh yeah.
but
We had a lot of fun.
I wanna talk about
Yeah.
character designs, because some of the character designs in the movie were really really nice. You already mentioned the bodyguards. Like they really look like they have suits on.
We already described most character designs, like the king, the crazy king, Mad King.
But the one servant of the king, the one with the orange fur.
The one who's always happy.
Yeah. He has
He's
this
always
like
blushing.
this like he blushes all the time, and he has this like black fur on the top of his head.
And he's the kind of guy who can turn every situation into something good. Like in his own mind. Like he's, oh, you don't want to be a cat? Well, that's okay. It's gonna be fine. You're gonna turn into one anyway. Isn't that great? And he's like genuinely happy about that. It's so weird.
Yeah, I like how he's like this. He's a little he's not really fat, but he's like little thick,
Plump.
plump.
He's a thick boy,
thick
but not
boy.
as thick as Muta. Muta is a real thick boy.
But he got like this really large black spot on his head.
Yeah.
It looks like it's part of his. It's part of an outfit, and not really his fur, but just it looks like it's part of an outfit that really fits his personality. Like he's just this happy dude, but he always serves his king, and it looks like it's some sort of uniform. I'm just talking random shit, but
No.
No, I get what you mean.
yeah. And the other butler of
Like
the king.
weren't the guards? They were like they had camouflage.
Yeah.
Like green black
that's right.
camouflage.
That's
Yeah,
right.
they did.
Like,
So yeah, like lots of character designs that like mimicked uniforms and stuff
and
like that.
I really started wondering about the mechanics of the Cat Kingdom world, which is probably a mistake in this kind of for this kind of story. But are the cats just like are they predestined to become this certain thing later in life when they get born and the fur gets a certain color? Is it like, oh, so you have this camouflage fur, you're gonna be a king's guard? Or you have the weird suit with tie fur, you're gonna be a bodyguard.
Maybe. Huh.
I mean,
I didn't even think about that.
how is the society built? Like, and if you have two different eye colors, are you gonna become king? Is that also a thing? I don't know.
Yeah, there's also like
But
there are a lot of parent-child relation. Well, two actually. It's like
a lot of two.
Haru's mother
father.
looks like her, but she doesn't just look like her. She just looks related. The same for the king and the prince. They have the same eye color and but also not exactly the same fur color. Just a little different.
Yeah.
And I really like how they look related, but
Yeah, I mean, why are we talking about this? Like, obviously, kids look similar to their parents.
yeah,
I just think they put really a lot of care into getting these details right in this movie, and that's why it's worth mentioning.
Yeah.
It's probably a lot. It was a lot easier to do for the cats, but they, it's not easy to make like two characters look like almost alike, but not
Especially
exactly.
in anime where every
Yeah.
character looks the same. Everyone looks like Kirito.
Yeah.
Not in this one though. This
No.
one had a very unusual style for the human designs. I
Yeah,
don't think
and
I've ever
round
seen it in any other
faces.
film.
It didn't look like Ghibli at all.
Very
No,
round
no.
faces. I really.
Do you
I-
know who did the character designs?
I can look it up.
That would be interesting, because I really like the style too.
I wasn't sure about if I like the way the faces are like almost circular.
Well,
But in the end it was like. It looks kind. It fits the mood of the film because it's like just really funny.
it also looks like the
Goofy.
entire visual aesthetic of the film was very soft.
Yeah.
Both backgrounds and characters
Yeah.
and animation, everything was very soft and flowy, and but not in a surreal way, in a very realistic way. It was very fluffy, like cats, and tea
Yeah.
party like a conversation at a tea party flows like really smooth. You know what I'm trying to say here?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still looking up the character designer. Because you mentioned some backgrounds, I wanted to say like there was some really nicely designed little scenes with when they ran to the plaza where the cat bureau was. We had like these small alleyways,
Yeah.
and it jumped over
Wanted to talk about
the roofs.
Canopies and roofs.
Yeah, and those looked
yeah.
really cool.
that whole scene was really cool because I didn't really catch when they suddenly got on the roofs, like how did they just go through the alleyway and suddenly they were on the roofs? When did they climb up somewhere?
No, it was like
It just really flowed.
it was
flowed
like
really
a
well. I really
weird
liked that.
stairs almost of canopies
Yeah.
left and right and small roof things, and she was just jumping zigzag over those, and then they
Yeah.
were on the roof.
I really like that scene.
It was a very
It's just,
it felt very
it flows really well.
jump and run game
Yeah.
kind of. It's really cool.
So I found the character designer. It's Morikawa Satoko. And they worked on Higashi no Eden.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, right. They do look similar in a way.
Yeah, of course, now that I know that, I can see the similarity.
And
Skycrawler's key animation. Well,
yeah.
Nothing else really.
No, not that many other staff positions. But yeah, that's the character design. It looks unusual and I like it. It's good.
Yeah, looks really cool.
yeah, so I think we described the movie enough
I think we did.
with our a little bit incoherent rambling.
Yeah.
So what did we take away from it in the end? We talked about the moral of the story, of course, in our eyes, and I think we agree what it is, but
Wake up on time, kids.
Yeah.
yeah. But you know,
Stand up against the Mad King in your life. So, what do I take away from this movie? Focus on. No, don't focus, but there's nothing wrong with making a movie that's just fun.
That's
Doesn't
right.
have to be
Yeah.
filled with themes
Yeah.
and stuff like that. If it's
or
fun to watch,
messages and
yeah,
morals and do this, do that things. Like a lot of Miyazaki movies actually, while I love them, sometimes it feels like it kind of beats you over the head with a certain
environmental message.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's especially in Takahata movies, but no, in Miyazaki, you feel it has a little bit of an educational mission to it sometimes,
Yeah.
and not in all of them. Like if Porco Rosso, for example, is very different. It's like But I didn't get this in this movie at all. Like I never thought this movie wants to educate me as a kid.
Yeah.
It's just like
Yeah, it's very
it's just
well
fun.
packaged.
It just
as
wants to entertain me in the best way possible, and it succeeded. And that's actually very rare, I think.
I guess because
Yeah.
I think a lot of filmmakers want to get a message across. And I mean, even this film has a message. It's just not.
The focus.
It's not the focus of when you're watching the movie. It's not like the most obvious thing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess this comes also from like the origins of this movie. That it's like, oh, we liked this part of Whisper in the of the Heart. These particular stories, we think those are charming. Let's make more.
Yeah.
So it's this very innocent kind of. I'm just hyped for these stories. I want more of those.
Yeah, I want to see the characters.
Yeah, I
wanna
want
have
these
fun
characters
with them.
go through wacky adventures. You know, just
Yeah.
adventure time. It's just
adventure
it's
time.
just like adventure time.
Adventure Time, the animation.
What? Anyway, I think I said everything I could say about the movie.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I didn't expect us to actually talk about the movie when we started recording. Actually,
I didn't expect us to talk like we mentioned everything in the movie. Basically.
Yeah.
yeah, I thought we just start
Yeah, you
start off like, hey, so we just watched Cat Returns, and by the way, did you know autism is dumb or something like
Autism
that?
isn't real.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
an
but-
illusion.
Well,
And I thought we would just start ranting about some weird shit instead of
Yeah.
actually talking about the movie and
I
stay
don't
on
know.
point.
Yeah, I was just very fascinated by the movie, so I was like,
Yeah.
that's what I want
Yeah.
to talk about now.
Yeah.
So
I mean, and we just watched it before we started recording, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
immediately, so it's very fresh.
so we just talked about the movie. We mentioned everything. I think you don't.
We explained the entire plot.
Yeah, you don't need to watch it anymore.
No, please
You're
do.
welcome.
Please,
Yeah,
please
please
watch
do
the
watch
movie.
it.
If
It's
if,
really
if you
good.
haven't seen it, you have to watch it. It's a must see.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
So-
very underrated in the Ghibli catalog, I
Definitely.
think.
Is it
Is it-
underrated?
I don't know. I mean,
It's-
I just think because no
Well,
one
it's-
ever recommended it to me. No one ever talked. Like, I've never seen anyone really talk about it in depth, or it's just not. You know, if you think of Ghibli movies, it's just not what comes to mind first.
It's also not by
No,
one
that's
of
true.
the
It's
like,
not by
uh,
Miyazaki. It's not by
yeah.
Takahata. You don't. You know, you don't get it in your top 10 Ghibli film lists usually, but
Well, now you get it because it's in mine.
yeah, it's definitely in mine.
Hell yeah.
It's wonderful.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Shall we wrap it up?
Alright.
Okay. Thanks for listening, everybody. Bye.
But yeah.
That was the Bro Returns.
See you
cast.
next year.
Sayonara.
Goodbye.